Greetings, I'm Montrose Kristen Alexandra Ibn Bray with the Oramus Temple, Spiritual Education Center and nonprofit. I am the founder, I am a member, and I am the major facilitator for the Sacred Life Sciences, which is Tantra Yoga, also known as Samai Tawi, according to the Kemetic tradition. I have a background in self-realization stemming back to around 1978. I'm also a certified licensed massage therapist and meditation coach, hypnosis coach, and life coach. So I do quite a few things in this area, and I'm happy to be able to share this with you. I just want to thank you for joining us today. Chances are that if you've come this far, you're interested in either a Tantra initiation session or you're interested in Tantra Yoga itself. Either way, I am hoping and I'm thinking that this video presentation will be helpful for you. So I'd like to ask you to just pause the tape for a moment and just go and get some materials with which you can take notes, because I'm going to be sharing a lot of material with you today. And I want you to be able to really embrace this, the practices as well as the teachings, so that if you do decide to come in, we can optimize that Tantra initiation session to its fullest. And if you don't come in, the meat that you gather from this presentation will be a true help to you on your journey through life. So pause the tape. I'll be right here when you get back. Okay, so now you're back. Welcome. So I just want to give you a brief overview about the purpose of this course. You know, Tantra means a lot of things to a lot of different people. Yeah, we all hear about the prolonged ecstasy that lovers benefit from practicing Tantra. We hear about the healing and the empowerment, the ability to manifest according to our heart's desire. And we even hear about the ability to be able to project energy and affect sensation in the body of someone else, affect their emotional healing without even touching them, even at long distance. But you know, for power like that to be able to work for you without backfiring on you, you have to do some work on yourself. In other words, you have to turn within, because that's where the power is. The first intercourse you should be concerned with is the intercourse within you, the intercourse between your physical composition, your physical self, and your eternal, immortal, spirited soul. So we're going to start with that, and I'm going to give you some basic tantric equations that will help you to understand how this process works, not just from a mystery school perspective, but from a scientific perspective. And then I'm also going to share with you some practices that involve breath, intention, and focus, so that you can begin this journey right away. So when you come in to visit me, you'll be ready to have that initiation experience that will really put you in the optimal position to start your work on this path and to reap the benefits. So when anyone asks, what is Tantra Yoga? We can reply that this is the study and practice of life or active dynamic involving at least two dimensions. You have to have at least two. That could be God and goddess, or potential intelligence and the vibratory power that manifests that potential into like form, male or female, positive or negative, expansive or constrictive, wet or dry, hot or cold. There's always two. And you can think of it as the dynamic of a spectrum that expands from one end to its opposite other end. Consider in your mind a pendulum. And when you put motion to that pendulum, it will swing in opposite directions equally. So to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So to the exact extreme capability of ecstasy you can entertain in your life, you have to be willing to accept that that pendulum can swing to its opposite, which could be, for example, the opposite extreme of suffering, for example, or pain, ecstasy, pain. To the same extreme that you can have ecstasy, likewise to pain. So sometimes when we are considering yoga, we're looking at coming to that 0 point balance. On the other hand, when you're considering something like Tantra yoga, you're looking at the dynamic of that pendulum swing. So how far can you go to one end, and understanding that the pendulum will swing to the extreme opposite on the other side. This is nature, and we can see it demonstrated before us in every way. Okay, so let's get started. And let's begin with getting an idea of what Tantra yoga actually is. Most of us associate yoga in general, let alone Tantra yoga, with India. By far, India has so much living information, teachings, and practices still existing today. But this is actually a functioning technology blending both spirituality and science that can be seen throughout the world. You can see remnants of it. You can see the historic evidence of it in both Northern and Southern Europe, amongst the pagans and the Wiccans and the Hermetic philosophers. You can see it in North, Central, and South America, among the shamans. You can see it throughout the East, amongst the shamans, and throughout Africa. You can see it in China as the Tao. What is not very frequently brought to the surface is that the earliest evidence of this particular type of technology shows up in Africa, in Egypt, in what was then known as Kemet. It shows up on the temple walls, believed to be the universities of those times, and on the papyrus papers in the coffin texts. Yoga, we've said earlier, means, roughly translating, whatever we as living entities are doing, that it's actually a source, an infinitely expansive source in both potential and vibratory power that's actually doing it. And we'll explain more about that later, but first, I want you to understand you're going to hear me refer to Tantra yoga as Samai Tawi. And I just want you to know that is the Kemetic reference for the same thing. It translates roughly as a merging, a weaving, a joining together of two worlds. And whether they're talking about upper and lower Egypt, or they're talking about the merging together of male and female, man and woman, or goddess and god, or divinity, or what they call the Netaru and its creation, they're always talking about the merging, the dance between the dynamic of two. So you may see this as the intertwining between the imperceivable and the perceivable, the creator and its creation, the immortal part of you and the mortal part of you, the male and female aspects within ourself and then collectively, between elders and youth, between negativity and positivity, expansion and contraction, hot, dry, cold, wet, hard, soft, and even fear and love. All these interact as we stalk the wild pendulum of life from one extremity to the other. So while some forms of yoga practice residing in the still point, where pure consciousness alone exists as infinite potential, Tantra Yoga, or Samaitawi, is the study and practice of the interweaving, the intertwining dance, the intercourse between the two dynamic extremes that deliver potential into a manifestation of form. Tantra is not a formal religion. Rather, it offers methodology to help optimize and enhance the practice of any religion and or non-religious lifestyle in living. Tantra practices help broaden and heighten awareness, thereby surfacing our empowerment to heal and embrace our well-being or wealth, both individually and collectively, no matter where we may find ourselves at any given point.